What's up? Welcome in on this hump day, August 19th, 2026. Plenty of stuff to talk about as we get closer and closer to the opening of the football season. The baseball playoffs hot and heavy. FBI Los Angeles continues to roll around. There is a lot of stuff going on. The Penn State Sniffney Lions. Oh, we could go a million different directions here on today's program, but we're happy you're here. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. Follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show everywhere. But where and why, my Raider-clad friend?
That would be everywhere but Snapchat, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. It sucks.
First time watching the show. There you go. There's one of the lines of the show. Sign up for the newsletter, MikeAranaShow.com/links. Comes out every Tuesday. It's going to keep you up to date at what's going on with the program, who we've got coming up, guests on the program, the changes, some of which I've told you guys about yesterday, how we're going to handle the football season schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 11:30 on the West Coast, Wednesday nights, right here, right at this time. Because it's like it's the way to get to the midpoint of the week. You're coming off the football weekend high. Most of the time, you're coming off of a good Monday night football matchup, T. Not all the time, but most of the time. My first question for you, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the show tonight, which we will, we're going to get some headline fire. We're going to get through some division leaders, talk about some of the division leaders in Major League Baseball. Our football previews continue. 2 more to go before we get to our season preview show. AFC West preview tonight. So in an AFC West kind of spirit, T, I would say, have you found yourself wrapped up in the rabbit hole that is a Fernando Mendoza post-practice press conference yet? Because I feel like I'm stuck in a time warp and I'm watching Tony Robbins. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't hate it either.
I mean, I don't hate what I'm hearing, but like, it's August, right? So can we get this guy, if everything goes right for the Raiders, we can talk about this in about 35, 40 minutes, but if everything goes right for the Raiders, you will not see Fernando Mendoza on the field until at least November, at least. So this is great, but bro's going to be the highest paid clipboard holder in the league right now. So he's saying all the right things. He's doing all the right things. He is beloved by his teammates already, but the guy has thrown as many touchdown passes in the regular season as you and me. So let's pump the brakes, because championships aren't won in August. They're won in October, November, December. And now January.
His uber positivity, I wonder when, like, is he the guy that can absolutely, like, shield what we know the Raiders are from infiltrating his uber positivity? Because I think he is.
The best thing about Fernie Menz is that he's like the backup quarterback that comes into the game when the team is already down 28-0. So he hasn't done any of the things. He hasn't participated. He wasn't there when they went 3-14. He wasn't coaching the offensive line that couldn't cover a cold kid with a blanket. He had absolutely no part in any of that. He is a breath of fresh air along with everybody else that's come in here, and it's amazing. I love seeing it, but I'm on the side of cautious optimism here, because I've seen this before so many times. Like, I'm just going to pump the brakes here, and I'm not planning any parades just yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the program, welcome. We're happy to have you here. If you couldn't tell by that, the cynical Raiders fan is on the right side of your television. I just need to stay away from electrical outlets and substations, and that's how we'll get through the rest of today's program. Cody checking in. No, Cody. Saturdays are for beers and college football, and for our boys over at the Herb and Raj podcast, so we leave those to them. And enough. 5 days a week of me is plenty.
And we only hope that Herb and Raj are both wearing pants.
See, Raj is a pants guy. Herb, the odds are it's probably minus 185 that he's not, just for the people out there. So let's get into some headline fire off the top. I don't know if you saw this last night. I was watching it live, T, and it was kind of funny because they talked about in the newsletter this week how bad the American League West is. And I kind of targeted the Seattle Mariners as the poster children for like how mid the American League West is.
It's a good target.
Well, I had the Brewers last night at minus a half a run through the first 5 innings. It was kind of dicey. It was a little tight. And then, if there was a better microcosm of the Seattle Mariners season, 5 runs, 2 runs, 9 runs. That's how the Brewers finished the game, including when Julio Rodriguez just decided to chuck a ball into the stands when there weren't 3 outs in the inning. How fair is it to blame what's going on in Seattle on Julio Rodriguez? And the reason I'm asking you that is because he's a guy that we've talked a lot about. Will he step up to be the superstar that he's being paid to be? So that's why I'm going to throw it at him first. How much of Seattle's woes are to blame on Julio Rodriguez?
31%. And it's, look, everybody's having a hard time in Seattle right now. Cal Raleigh has regressed so much. He has fewer hits right now than he had home runs the entire season last year. The last time I checked, he had 52 hits. I'm sure it's changed because it was a couple of days ago. He had 52 hits. He had 60 home runs last year. Now, we were expecting regression from Raleigh. 60 home runs every year that's an unbelievable ask. But the regression that we're getting is incredible. But there's plenty of blame to be spread around here with Seattle. Now, Rodriguez is putting up fine numbers, 256, 19 home runs, 52 RBIs. He's not spectacular in any category. He swiped 16 bags. That's kind of nice. But like this whole team has regressed, and at an unbelievable rate. The pitching is not what it was last year. When the pitching is there, they can't score. I mean, is it fair to blame Rodriguez? Look, he's going to get the brunt of it because of the ticket. That's why. And because he's been marketed as the superstar in Seattle. He's not a superstar. He's not playing like a superstar. In fact, I would even offer that he hasn't played like a superstar the entire time he's been there. So does he deserve some of the blame? Yes. Does he deserve all of it? No.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I mean, the Cal Raleigh update, he's still 0 for 1 tonight, has 52 hits on the season after last night's performance, which is 1 hit less than Aaron Judge, who we haven't seen for the whole freaking summer. They are up 7-2 in Milwaukee. They jumped Dusty May early. 7 runs in the first 2 innings. May is out of the game, but again, it's early, so who knows there. And I mentioned this in the newsletter. The sad part about this, if you kind of focus forward, I think they could lose. I mean, they're in good position tonight, but theoretically speaking, this week they have Chicago after this, the Cubs, then they've got the Phillies, and then the entirety of basically the month of September, with the exception of a Red Sox series at the very beginning of it, their entire September, Rangers, Rockies, Athletics, Angels, Astros. This team at 59 and 67 still very likely could make the playoffs, which I think would be the utmost indictment of how shitty the American League is. I don't want this team anywhere near the playoffs. Dan Wilson's going to get canned. It's time for Jerry DiPoto to get canned, because they won't even hit his 54% metric right now, because they've got to get to, what is it, like 80? I wrote it down this week. You think I'd remember because I wrote it in the damn newsletter. I think it's 87 and a half games.
Wins. Yeah.
They've got to go on one hell of a September heater to get there.
Well, yeah,
I can't with the American League West, dude. It's a battle of shit-trition is what I called it yesterday.
That's a very fair assessment. I mean, even the Angels went into Houston last night and completely shut down the Astros. And the Astros are supposed to be like, I don't know. They're supposed to, I guess, represent the AL West, maybe, kind of, sort of. I don't know. The AL is bad. Just bad is a complete understatement. And it's not just bad, dude. Have you looked at the run differentials of some of these teams? It is astounding. Absolutely astounding. The Royals are a minus 106. The A's are a minus 179. The Tigers are below 500 and somehow are a plus 82. Like, what world are we living in here when 10 of the 15 teams in the AL have negative run differentials and 10 of them are under 500? You know what? I take it back. In 1994, the Rangers were leading the division when the strike happened with a record, I think, 10 games under 500. So maybe it's been that long.
Maybe it has been that long, and we'll get into the division leaders, the good teams across baseball, here in just a little bit. Fire away, my friend.
Can we talk about something positive before we talk about something negative? Like,
sure.
How great has this run by the Toronto Blue Jays, my Toronto Blue Jays, been lately? Can they keep it up and make the postseason? Because that would redeem me for my horrible pick at the beginning of the season.
Bro, first of all, at 35-1 PCA to win the MVP at the beginning of the season, you don't need any redemption. Second of all, yeah, I mean, they're the benefactors, and they're in a battle right now with Tampa Bay. 7-6 in the seventh inning there. Thank you very much, Max Scherzer. Yes, run first inning and giving up a bomb to Yandy Diaz, because first innings and Max Scherzer bombs go together like a fine wine. But they're a half game out. I mean, you have to take them seriously. They're going to get Vladdy Jr. back, and whether that translates to any positive momentum for him in the Rogers Center, like hitting a home run in the freaking Rogers Center. Alejandro Kirk is on freaking fire right now. He's got 6 home runs in his last 7 games against the Rays. But the guys that have been impressing the hell out of me, and I think really kind of being catalysts, if you will, to this run that the Jays have been on, guys like Charles McAdoo and Daz Cameron. I mean, they're getting contributions from guys that 3 weeks ago you had no idea who the hell they were. It's those guys that are bringing it to the table for them. Little concerned right now. Paul Sewald's currently in the game for the Jays, so I don't know if that's a good thing. But I think if I'm looking at all the teams that are fighting for these spots in the American League in the wild card race, I mean, I think we're pretty safe to say, with the exception of the crappy American League West we were just talking about, we know who the other 2 division winners likely will be. But you're looking at this now, and 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're a half game out. Yeah, the record sucks. I mean, if they were in the American League West, they'd be right at the top of the list right now. But I don't see, with the momentum that they've built and how they've been playing, how you couldn't take them as a serious threat right now. And when you fast forward a little bit on their schedule, like, I'm looking at this, what makes them dangerous to me is after they play the series in Tampa, they head to the Bronx to play the Yankees. Dylan Cease will pitch on Saturday in the Bronx there. But then you look at the rest of their schedule. You got the A's, you got the Royals, you got the Mariners, you got Texas in there, you got Cincinnati to finish the year. I don't see how you can't look at Toronto and see them as a serious threat for kind of the same reason that I said, as much as Seattle sucks, they're still going to be a factor because of what their schedule is in September.
I mean, they got a series, I know, with the Guardians, which is fine. But yeah, this schedule that they have left, they got the O's, but it's a lot of, I mean, the Tigers have been playing better. They play them, but it's a lot of teams that aren't super scary. And the problem with the Jays is they dug themselves such a big hole in early going. And the fact that Vlad the Imposter cannot get it going.
Remember all the people at the beginning of the year that were like, oh, that Dylan Cease contract is freaking horrible. Yeah, the dude's probably going to win the Cy Young in the American League. I think it's a 2-horse race. If it's me, it's Schlittler or it's Cease. And depending on how the season finishes, that's probably how that thing lays out. But yeah, I don't see how anybody could look at Toronto right now. For 2 reasons. Because we know how wide open and mediocre most of the American League is. I would look at that and go, okay, if all of these teams are playing like 500 crap baseball, what am I going to go with? I really like the makeup of what they have, and I don't see how you couldn't take them as a legitimately serious threat. They're going to avoid the Cease. We're going to be robbed of the Cease Schlittler head-to-head matchup. Schlittler will pitch Friday for the Yankees. No starter listed yet for the Jays. But yeah, I don't see how you couldn't take them as a serious threat. I'm going to get us off of baseball here for a second. And I know this is going to make you super happy, T. Roger Goodell said yesterday that there is zero doubt in his mind that there will be an NFL team outside of the United States. So since we know when he says that it's going to happen, can you at least make me a case for where it makes sense?
I mean, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is where it's going to go. You're going to put it in London first because that makes the most sense. It's kind of central to the whole idea of expanding. Like you'll start there and then you work your way east. That's what's going to happen. But London makes the absolute most sense. That stadium was built with the NFL in mind. So, yeah, that's my guess is where it's going to go. And you know what? Their kits will probably copy what the Spurs wear. They'll probably be the same color scheme, the same, maybe similar logo, because playing the same place, you might as well just do it, right? So, but that's where I could see it going. But can we talk really quickly about how absurd the National Football League is to go international, especially when you're extending this 5 and 6 time zones to the east? Like you have a hard enough time with 4 time zones, and now you're going to go 10 time zones. Makes zero sense.
Yeah, I think we know the other catch to this is when it happens, that's when we go to an extra game in the regular season, and then we're talking about multiple bye weeks because it's the only way you can make it happen. I think Mexico City is probably not far off of that list. I do agree with you, though, that stadium that Tottenham plays in is built. I mean, what a concept, too. Like, the whole field thing and everything, and you could they don't have to have turf, and it's, like, fascinating shit. I mean, I wonder if we could, use that in the state somewhere, like New York, New Jersey area. But I think Mexico, there's going to be 2 teams internationally, because obviously you can't just bring one in. That's a no-brainer. I think Mexico City's got a case for being another one there. I'm kind of interested this year to see what the NFL looks like in Paris, because we'll get to see that. I believe, if I remember off the top of my head, it's Steelers Saints. Not. The funny thing is we don't give the international fans the greatest games ever when we do this. I mean, giving Australia Niners Rams in week 1 is kind of fascinating, but there's never really great games. And we know it's going to happen, but the second we hear that London's coming, that's when the 18th game on the schedule is coming, and we'll see how the players union likes that when we get to that standpoint. Fire away, dude.
All right, well, we can stay in football. Gravy trainer and ring chaser extraordinaire Von Miller is joining the Dallas Cowboys, and he called it a, quote, dream within a dream. I'm worried about Von Miller, dude. I'm worried about his dreams. I really am, because that just sounds horrible. But how effective do you think he'll be, and does this significantly improve the Cowboy defense?
I was asked this question actually this weekend, and I kind of mentioned the Cowboys a little bit yesterday, and I'll just reiterate the point if anybody missed it. Von Miller's not going to be asked to do a ton on this Dallas defense. He's a Texas native, so I think that's where the dream thing comes into play here. If you would like to crawl in bed next to him and figure out what his dreams are, by all means, that's better you than me there. I think the situation for him in Dallas is going to be very advantageous to him. They're not going to ask him to do a whole lot. There's a lot of people that think he's got nothing left in the tank, and I could see that based on what you've seen from him the last couple of years that he's played. But Christian Parker might be the single biggest addition in the entire NFL of this offseason, and I don't know how much I can emphasize that point to everybody else. The defensive coordinator of the Cowboys is a Vic Fangio disciple. Vic Fangio's defenses are a pain in the ass to play against because you don't know if you're going nickel. You don't know if you're going to see 4-3. You don't know if it's a 4-3 that shifts to a 3-4. Like, they keep you off balance. And they ask guys to win one-on-one matchups. And that's where I think if you're rolling Von Miller out there and you go, just beat this dude, there's still Von Miller's still one of those guys I'm going to go, hey, you're playing like 33% of the snaps, and I just need you to beat a dude and stay healthy. I like my chances there. It didn't cost them a ton. It makes a lot of sense. He's another veteran that's been to the top, who knows what it takes. But Christian Parker, the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, and again, we'll have to see it. We'll have to see it to believe it. I get all the jokes. I understand it all. But I'll throw this same scenario out. And I mentioned it yesterday, but different audience tonight. Josh Allen can't win the big game. The 49ers can't stay healthy. Dallas hasn't won since their last Super Bowl was on a VHS tape, but blah, 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 blah. But what if they do? If 2026 has taught us anything about sports, it's to expect the unexpected this year. Look at the Chicago White Sox, who couldn't get out of their own damn way, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Indiana football won a national championship. If that doesn't explain to you how weird the sports year is gone, I don't know what does. And the thing is with the Cowboys is we know they're going to score a crap ton of points.
Yep.
But they could not stop me running through the A gap with football in my hands last year. It's going to be way different this year. Can the Cowboys put it all together? That remains to be seen. As long as we stop trying to fight one of the Steiner brothers' sons in training camp practices in Oxnard. Training camp practice fights might be the dumbest damn thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm telling you, I'm warm to this Cowboys team. On September 2nd, I'll tell you how warm I might be to the Cowboys team when we do our NFL kickoff show. But I think adding Von Miller to this team in the role that they need him in, I think it's a perfect marriage for both of them.
I mean, when you put it that way, you're totally right. Like, just beat a guy at once every 3 or 4 plays and stay healthy. You're probably going to be fine. He's listed currently second on the depth chart at outside linebacker, which is probably where he slots. That defense, though, is going to be very, very good this year. I have a feeling. I love the fact that they got Quinnen Williams. If he can give him anything off, I mean, this is going to be a fun. And you know what? If the Cowboys defense winds up sucking, but they're putting up 45 points a game, it's going to be a great team to watch.
Yeah, and before we move on, so these don't get lost in the shuffle here, if you didn't see it today, speaking of Cowboys, former Cowboy Trayvon Diggs has signed a 1-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks, who have a bunch of injuries right now in their secondary. And the move that we didn't think we were going to see happen, Vita Vea has been extended by the Tampa Bay Bucks, so he'll remain a Buck this year and next year. That's massive because we've already previewed the NFC South, and with what was going on before with them, we weren't really sure what was going to happen. He gets $30 million guaranteed, keeps him in Tampa this year and next year. So a couple of news and notes from the NFL to pass along from today. We've got an NBA trade we'll get to that went down just before the show started. Fire away. Actually, fire away. Screw it.
Oh, okay, I'll go. Now we're going to talk. We're going to talk about something that's just horrendous, and I hope you don't sit in the corner and start crying. But whose contract in Major League Baseball is approaching Anthony Rendon territory? Kyle Tucker, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., or Framber Valdez?
Ugh. I mean, the low-hanging fruit here is the Kyle Tucker situation. I mean, it's just been miserable right now. But the 0.4 WAR for a $60 million AAV. And you know, Framber's been okay. He's at a 1.5 WAR. Vladdy, that was a couple years ago. The reason I'm referencing that specifically, our guys over at Spotrac today, 19 Major League Baseball players signed a free agent contract of $40 million plus this past winter, and they kind of listed them all down as to where they were in wins above replacement. Dylan Cease, the contract that everybody was like, oh, that's a terrible contract, he actually leads that list of all those guys. The worst guy on the list is George Polanco, who signed to replace Pete Alonso, whose season is now over in New York with the Mets. He's probably happy that he's going to have surgery and move on with life because that's how bad it's been in New York. But I think the Tucker thing is the easy answer right now. you've got a team full of superstars. You've got an ownership group that's being investigated and all kinds of weird stuff right now.
Surprise!
Yeah, right. At a 0-4 war, and I said this yesterday too. Like I was watching the game the other night, and I text you, and I'm like, dude, Kyle Tucker just dropped a pop fly that your daughter's never dropped playing softball. Like, I mean, it's just, and then they showed him, and Eric Karros mentioned this, and it's like, we know baseball is an extremely mental game, and he's out there having conversations with himself in right field. And I heard the second night, that was Monday night's game I was talking about. Last night, just talking about getting him out to Arizona, letting him clear his head right now because he's not having fun playing ball. He can't freaking get a hit right now. He's screwing up in the outfield. I mean, the Kyle Tucker contract stinks out loud right now, but it's ironically not close to the worst one. The Dodgers actually have one that's worse in our guy Edwin Diaz, who is now on the injured list again. They say with neck inflammation. I think it's because of whiplash from all the nukes he's given up every time he's out there. But, you know, and again, it doesn't really affect the Dodgers until it affects the Dodgers in a big-time spot. And that would be my concern right now, is what am I getting out of Kyle Tucker, a guy who's counted on highly, and Edwin Diaz, who signed deals in that range in the postseason? Because one botched fly ball in a deciding game or one blown save in a deciding game, season's over, and we're going, how in the hell did this team friggin' lose? I think the Dodgers, it's in their best interest right now to just make up another injury. Kyle's got a sore thumb from dropping fly balls. Just get him off the field, get him out of sight, out of mind for a couple of days. And we've seen guys have to do that in the past, and it's worked wonders for him. That's where they're at right now with him. But man, can you imagine if we get to Halloween night and Kyle Tucker or Edwin Diaz blow the World Series for the Dodgers, or we don't even get to Halloween night and Kyle Tucker or Edwin Diaz blow the National League pennant for the Dodgers? Man, I think the internet might blow up that night.
Well, I mean, Justin Robleski would be happy because it wouldn't be on his shoulders, because that guy just is it is like a fun house when he's on the mound. It's like, what's going to happen next? I agree with you. Look, baseball is the 6.5 months. It's a grind. There's times when, yes, it's no fun when you're playing 21, 23 games in a row. You're right. The best thing for them to do is send him out, go away for a week, and we'll pay for it, and get right, go to Glendale, get some time in, and after you put in a shift at Roman's Oasis, then get over to Glendale and go take some shots in the cage. But you're right. I thought at first, my take was he'll probably opt out after next year. But then I'm like, that's a bad take, because why would you opt out when you're getting paid $60 million a year to suck? I think that could be kind of a motivation. But holy smokes, you're right, dude. If they get to the National League Championship Series and he throws up an 0 for 5 with 4 Ks and an error in the outfield, you better believe that Dave Roberts is going to question him going out there again.
Yeah, speaking of Kyle Tucker, he's about to come to the plate in Colorado, top of the second. No score between the Dodgers and the Rocks. A couple more minutes here on Headline Fire, and then we'll focus in on the other good teams in baseball, the division leaders here. But I talked about it yesterday, the most useless thing in college football that comes out every year. The AP preseason top 25 poll is out. Give me a candidate or two that fits the role of Clemson and or Penn State from last year, and why. And I've got a feeling I think I know where you're going with this one.
I am going to Bloomington, the Indiana Hoosiers. And the reason why I'm going to Bloomington is, like, that team, everything has gone right the last 2 seasons. It has been it's been football heaven, right? Coach makes the right call. Players are making plays. and everything's fine. And we saw the iconic Mendoza play to get in the end zone against Miami, and it's all unicorns and glitter. It's not going to be like that for Indiana this year. They are going to struggle. And I'm sorry that Josh Hoover is going to get all the smoke here, but he's going to get all the smoke when things go sideways. So my first candidate for regression of that order is Indiana. And I'm not saying that because I wish ill will against Indiana, but there's got to be some balance here in the universe. And after 2 years of everything uber success, it's probably going to come back and balance out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are kind of in that weird role with Indiana. It's Cignetti's building a monster and they're already being underrated, or there has to be some regression because last year was the magical run of all magic carpet rides possible. And I think that's where everybody is on Indiana. I don't think anybody's in the middle on Indiana. It's one of the two there.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, I think Indiana will make the playoff ultimately, but I don't see them having a 2024 or 2025 season this year.
Do you have another one that piques your interest? Or I'll give you my major one, and you tell me if I'm crazy.
You go, and then I'll give you another one.
Oklahoma. I said this yesterday. I think they have a chance that they could have the best defense in the entire country. But what I don't know about Oklahoma is who in the hell is John Mateer, other than a guy that looks like he went through the Brian Bosworth workout plan in the offseason here. The dude is freaking yoked right now. But I don't know who John Mateer is. Was he post-injury John Mateer? Mm-hmm. Is he pre-injury John Mateer? Or is there a middle ground there? And I don't know if the middle ground of John Mateer is enough to carry Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, he looked in that game last year in the playoff. He just did not look right at all, and it's unfortunate that you get a team like Oklahoma with such a good defense, and then you can't put it all together because of injuries. That's when it counts. That's unfortunate, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised for them to have a mid-season as well. That game against Texas is going to say a lot. I know it's 4 or 5 games in, but that game against Texas. That's going to be the barometer, right? If they get blown out by Texas, then sayonara. Sorry to Toby Keith, but RIP. That team's not going to go anywhere. But if they are able to hang with Texas or beat Texas, that puts Oklahoma in a completely different light.
Yeah, it absolutely does. All right, give me one more, and let's get into some baseball division leaders.
It's your boy. No, it's Mississippi, and. So all the nonsense that happened with Mississippi last year, and they galvanized and they had a great run in the playoff, and that game against Miami was super good. They just couldn't get it going. And then this summer you have the Trinidad Chambliss bull crap, and you have a new coach coming in. But is he the right guy? Like, he was the right guy last year. But is he the right guy this year? There's a potential here for Ole Miss to just not be able to get it going. Now, luckily, the schedule ramps up for them, so they have time to get acclimated. And I know that sounds crazy for a guy like Trinidad Chambliss, who was absolutely outstanding last year. But you got a new staff. This team has to get used to this staff. So they better get off to a 3-0 start and hit the ground running when the SEC starts. Or it could be they could go right to the bottom of the SEC.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of similarities in the two teams that you mentioned as possible regression candidates there between Indiana and Ole Miss. And, there's a lot of people out there right now that think Trinidad Chambliss might be the hands-down best quarterback in college football this year. And does that Ole Miss team... do they go all the way through and say, watch what we can do because all you guys thought it was mainly Lane Kiffin. Now watch what we do without Lane Kiffin. Trinidad Chambliss, especially one of those guys. Mm-hmm. I think Ole Miss is absolutely fascinating. Again, on September 2nd on our football kickoff show, that's where we'll drop our 12 college football playoff teams, our national champions, and our Heisman Trophy winners. T, it must have been maybe the fix for Kyle Tucker was maybe he's listening to us in Denver right now within his like little pitch comm device that I found out the other day that some of the guys can actually wear in the field, because he singled. Kike Hernandez knocked him in. It's 1-0 LA. Speaking of the Dodgers, as we know, they are at the top of the National League West, getting a little bit of a push from your favorite team, the Padres. They're only 8.5 games back. But let's look at some of the other division leaders, as we did kind of last week. We looked at and kind of focused on which teams in the wild card races have impressed us since the deadline. Let's look at the division leaders right now. Which division leader has impressed you the most since the deadline, and why?
Man, I'm still on the Tampa Bay Rays, even though they've hit a little bit of a hiccup recently in that Baltimore series and then yesterday against the Jays. But I'm still on the Rays, man. I think they're playing the best baseball. Over the course of 160 games, you're going to get a week that stinks. This is probably their week that stinks. Before that, 7-3 in their last 10, 3 sweeps. Like, they just took care of biz on their West Coast trip. So I'm still with the Rays. I am all Rays all the time right now.
Top of the 9th from the Trop, still 7-6 Tampa Bay. Charles McAdoo, Miles Straw, and Nathan Lucas, your 3 up due for Toronto, and Baker's in the game for the Rays. But yeah, they did hit a little bit of a hiccup, but when you've been that damn good all year, it's bound to happen. For me, I'm going to stay in the American League, and it's the White Sox. And the big knock on the White Sox, by the way, I know this doesn't really pertain to today as much because they got the win against the Cubs. But like seeing them go on, and I don't count this as a road game against the Cubs. Like if you're counting it as a road game, you're a fool. They go into Detroit and handle business. That's against a division leader. That's a team that's pushing them for the top spot. The Tigers are about as hot as anybody right now. They just, again, like the Jays, dug themselves such a big hole. But like this White Sox team, every time I've been like, all right, here's the pocket in the schedule that's going to kind of trip them up a little bit. And they just answer the freaking bell, and they answer the bell, and they answer the bell. I mean, this is a damn good baseball team. Plus 47 run differential, as we were talking about earlier. They're 29-36 on the road. So seeing them kind of go in and handle that against a division rival when they needed it the most was I'm at that point now where, I mean, I've had a lot of fun watching this team, and I said it after the game Monday night. That entire series, Cubs and Sox, for me was appointment television, dude. I couldn't turn any of those games off, and they lived up to the absolute friggin' hype there. Jose Urquidy was fantastic today. If you're a Cubs fan, he was fantastically obnoxious and annoying as hell the way he was pitching today with trying to throw the batters offline and everything. They've got a makeup game against the Braves tomorrow. Kay and Holmes will be your pitching matchup there. That is in Chicago at the rate. And then they've got, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, the fairly hot Mets coming into town, and then they've got the garbage-ass Rangers coming to town. So to see them do that and to see what they're doing, they've got another interesting road trip, which will, again, give me that peace of mind or make me concerned. They're at Minnesota, then they're at Houston, and that's a 7-day trip, 4 in Houston, 3 in Minnesota coming up. And then they do have another kind of interesting one later in the year where they're at St. Louis and at Cleveland, and then they follow that coming back home to play Detroit. So they've got some interesting, they're not clear yet, but I've been really impressed because every time, they're the opposite of the Cardinals to me this year. The Cardinals were like, oh, this is a great story, look at them, blah, 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 and they've tapered off. They're still afloat, but not the same as it was. Every time I've thought the White Sox were going to fall, they haven't, and I've been really impressed. I think the American League Manager of the Year race, it's pretty fascinating. Kevin Cash has done a fantastic job, obviously, in Tampa, but Will Venable and what he's done with those White Sox this year, man, shout out to our guy Shy. Shout out to the Shy Sox, and, we'll see what happens here. Give me a series that's on your radar this weekend as we are locking in and focusing in on these teams that are in the race.
Well, I was concerned about the Braves last weekend hosting the Diamondbacks, and they had 2 of 3 taken from them at Truist. They go to Milwaukee this weekend. Miz is pitching on Saturday against Elder. That's going to be a fun one. But this Braves team is
Not
they
for
need
Bryce
to
Elder.
they need to perform against teams that are as good as they are. Sale tomorrow and Drohan for the Brewers, and then on Sunday, I don't have it with me because I'm an idiot and I didn't write it down. Oh, it's Sunday Night Baseball. That's why. It's Perez and Henderson. I'm sitting here looking because I'm used to seeing my team only play at like 1:00 on a Sunday. So that's actually a decent Sunday night matchup, none like last week. But it's the Braves and the Brewers. Like the Braves have been hanging on, it seems like, and hanging on. Your boys, the Buffalo Phillies, not South Buffalo, the Buffalo Phillies, 4.5 out, man. So they're making a little bit of noise.
Yeah, and it's this weekend you've got some interesting ones. That game on Sunday is actually if I remember correctly, it's the Little League Classic from Williamsport. Your middle of the day game on NBC is the garbage ass Giants and the Red Sox. But yeah, that'll be an interesting one this weekend. I kind of cheated a little bit here because for me, I'm looking at both Chicago teams this weekend. Intense series. It's a rivalry series. Place was freaking buzzing for 3 days. You got to come off of that. The Cubs are in Seattle against those garbage-ass Mariners. The White Sox are home, as I mentioned, for the Mets. That series will start on Friday. Sean Manaea for the Mets against Sean Burke for the White Sox. But I'm really going to be paying attention to both of them to see how they kind of come off the emotional series that they just had against each other. The first time they had played each other with both teams over 500 with the exclusion of the COVID year since 2008. So I'm interested to see how both of them kind of follow up. Obviously, if both Chicago teams are as good as I think they are, they should be series winners, both of them this weekend because of their opponents. But I could see a little bit of a letdown. And for the Cubs, they're going all the way up to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Mariners. Yeah. So a little bit of a longer road trip. No Dansby Swanson for still another month here. But I'm kind of fascinated to see what both of them do. Let's check some scores here before we get into our AFC West preview. Yankees and Baltimore, top of the eighth, 3-3. Cincinnati up 4-2 on the Cardinals in the bottom of the eighth. Runner on second for the Jays in the top of the ninth. No out, 7-6. The A's, good God, the Royals and the A's are garbage. The A's are up 5-2 on Kansas City. Seattle still up 7-2. Washington and Texas, who gives a shit, but it's 2-0. 1-0 Houston's over the Angels. Still 1-0 from Colorado as the Dodgers lead the Rockies. Rocks got a runner on third in the bottom of the second there. A division that's near and dear to your heart, the AFC West, which is kind of fascinating this year because there's been a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of questions, a lot of unknowns in this division. So as we typically do when we preview these divisions, I'll give you my general overview thoughts on the AFC West. And I wrestled with this one for a long time. How could I one line encapsulate the AFC West? I think I said NFC West. That's next week. But the AFC West, it's time to turn in your stinking badges because we're changing the guard in the AFC West. What do you got on the AFC West for me?
Yeah, we don't need no stinking badges. This team sent two teams, or this division sent two teams to the playoffs last year, and this could still be one of the most improved divisions in the league. With all of the players for Kansas City coming back and getting healthy, and with their acquisitions, and with what's happening in Vegas, with the rebuild there. The Chargers getting a new offense. And, oh, by the way, the Broncos are still there, who had one of the best defenses last year in the league. This is going to be a fun division to watch. It's going to be I'm looking to see the improvement. And I know that that's like I'm completely myopic in that. But remember, the Chiefs, after Mahomes went out, stunk up the joint last year. So they have an opportunity to improve. And we got to remember, too, there's only X amount of playoff spots available. So there's going to be teams that get left out.
Yeah, it really, I mean, you know, I think the assumption by most people is that the NFC West is going to be the best division in football again this year because of the Niners, Hawks, and the Rams. And since we've seen the Cardinals play a couple of preseason games, there's a lot of people that are kind of high on the Cardinals, what they have from an offensive skill set there. The AFC West, I think, is right there. I think your best football this year in totality, when we're talking divisions, is coming from the West for those exact reasons that you talked about there. So let's look at some of the newcomers and the adds to the division, people that we think will make a significant impact. And for me, it was a no doubt or no brainer. It's Jalen Waddle in Denver. Denver now has an element when you look at the totality of their wide receiver group. They've got guys that can do everything. They've got the burner and Waddle, stretch the field out for you. They're loaded. And I think the addition of Jalen Waddle, and now that Sean Payton's been there for a couple of years, the full culture is established there for the Broncos. We know the defense is going to be really good. I think Jalen Waddle for Bo Nix is going to be ridiculously huge in the development of a guy that I'm very high on in Bo Nix.
Bo Nix was so impressive last year, and it was unfortunate that it ended the way that it ended. But that receiving core is absolutely bonkers. And you add Waddle to it. You got Sutton. You got your boy, little Jordan Humphrey. And then you got, we didn't even talk about Troy Franklin, who came on at the end of last year. So, yes, the addition of Waddle, just more weapons for this team, man. More weapons.
Yeah, give me a newcomer to the division that you've got high hopes for.
I'll give you my player, and it's K9, Kenneth Walker III. It's kind of low-hanging fruit there also, but Seattle felt that they didn't have to pay him, so he goes to Kansas City, and he's exactly what Kansas City needs, because this team's offense, and they got Eric Bieniemy calling the shots again. This team needs to be able to run the ball and have that back who can catch passes out of the backfield and turn 2 yards into 12 yards really, really quickly. K9 gives them that ability.
Yeah, absolutely does. And again, like the fact that Seattle just let him walk, we'll see what the result is. But I think that if you think about Kenny Walker in Eric Bieniemy's offense, that should be terrifying to you because of what Seattle was able to do with K9 last year. I mean, his running ability is just going to continue to get better, but it's his pass catching ability. I mean, you don't just see an MVP of the Super Bowl just change teams very often. It doesn't happen. I mean, it's not unprecedented, but it doesn't happen. And when you talk about, and here's the thing, and I know what the counter is because I've heard a lot of people say this. It's like, well, the Chiefs have always had good running backs and they can't really do anything with them. This is a different approach to the Chiefs here. And you can tell me Patrick Mahomes is fine. You can show him jumping around on the sideline and blah, 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 and all that stuff. Fine. It's Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to doubt him in any way, shape, or form. But I think the ability to actually lean on a runner like Kenny Walker while you're walking him back into the mix and getting him up to complete speed is kind of dangerous there. And again, I've said this a few times, I don't think, and I know you don't think this because you've unfortunately had to live the downside of this, Brett Veach is not done building this roster. Brett Veach is going to go out and get more weapons for Kansas City when they present themselves. I really do think Michael Wilson of the Cardinals is a guy that we could end up seeing in Kansas City. I do. If you're the Cardinals, I wouldn't. But at the same time, if I can use a Tarek Skubal kind of argument, what more do you need to see out of the kid? Pay him. Pay him.
Absolutely.
You've got money to spend. Pay him. I don't think they're going to. And I think Kansas City, if Michael Wilson is available, Kansas City will pounce. And you imagine that in that offense? Holy shit.
I mean, you make a great point about the ability to rely on a running back, especially with a quarterback who is, I mean, they're going to say that he's 100% and bro's not 100%. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, and this is no disrespect to any of the running backs, but would you rather have Kenny Walker III back there or Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Like, sorry, man. If I know that I can give it to 9 every single time, and it does, it's going to take pressure off of Mahomes. And that's, if you're a defense, that's exactly what you don't want.
Yeah. Everybody out there watching, we appreciate you. If you're new to the show, welcome. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, daytime 11:30 on the West Coast. Wednesday nights, as obviously you know, because you're here, 5:30 on the West Coast. I also know we're having some connection issues, a little bit of a lag today. We appreciate everybody kind of hanging with us. Here's the good news for you day oneers that have been following us. We know what the problem is. It's going to take a little bit to get it fixed, but we appreciate y'all. Let's go to other newcomers, if you will, in the division. I'm going to go right to your ballpark, your neck of the woods, Clint Kubiak. I can't say enough about this guy and how much I believe in Clint Kubiak and how much I think he is finally the right guy for the Raiders. My expectations are obviously tempered, if you will, because there's a lot to fix in Las Vegas. But having the right guy that can give you the right message, who's not about all the pomp and circumstance and look at me and the attention. I mean, Pete Carroll was a good thought in theory, and bringing Chip Kelly in was a good thought in theory with him. But like Clint Kubiak's a guy that you're going to allow to build a program, which is the thing that the Raiders have been missing. I love Clint Kubiak. If you follow that tree, you know what he's about. You know what the family's about. And Clint Kubiak went out and he got veteran coaches on that staff. It's a very experienced staff for one of the better play callers in the entire league who's seen a lot of ball. I can't be more... If I was a Raider fan, I would question my life choices, but I would also be extremely happy and excited. Like, I got a guy here who I think actually can make something happen.
And who wants to be there. He wants to be there, and that's the important thing. And he's young. If this team wins 6 games, it's an absolute success. It's one of those things where the Raiders have seen this, like after the playoff year with Carr, with Carr in losing to the Bengals, and then the whole David. Oh my gosh, I almost said David Carr. Good. I'm gonna
Same difference.
$50 to the job.
Actually, that
the whole Derek Carr
mess,
the Geno crap, like the Josh McDaniel, like all this stuff can finally be put to rest if this team wins 6 games. And Clint Kubiak is young enough where if he shows that he sustains success, he can be there for a while. And I thought him bringing in Mike McCoy was a huge move, absolutely huge move.
Well, and the thing with Kubiak, too, is, and I'm not comparing him to John Harbaugh, but like when I had Dustin Sweetelson on last week, I had to ask him about the Giants. He's a Giants fan, and we know our boy Cody's a Giants fan, and I'm like, hey, this is what I think of the Giants. You know, I mentioned it yesterday. Jackson Dart had no idea why he had to go to the medical tent after basically just needing a blanket to take a nap at midfield of MetLife Stadium in the preseason game the other day. I love this team, but just like the Raiders, and Dustin listed all the coaches, and our boy Cody jumped into the comments when he was doing it. He was like, dude, you're going to give me PTSD with all these like miserable head coaches that have been here. It's the exact same situation with the Raiders. Difference is Kubiak's a younger guy, but he comes from a long lineage of football guys. And that's, I think, the biggest key there and the biggest help. You've got another guy that's a newcomer to the division who is a show favorite that you think is going to make a massive impact. Who is that guy?
It's your boy Capri Pants, Mike McDaniel. Like,
bro, San Diego's awesome, dude. I mean, wait, we're in Los Angeles now.
I'm another day closer to death, you know. This is year 7 of the Justin Herbert experience, and it's put up or shut up time. We know that he can put up the yards. We know he's 163 touchdowns in his career. We know what he can do, but there's absolutely zero playoff success. The difference between him and Josh Allen is basically one gets to the playoffs and wins occasionally, and one gets to the playoffs and blows 30-point leads. Last year, they looked absolutely just completely overmatched against the Patriots. This is the year for if the Chargers, and I love nothing more than to hate watch Chargers, if they're going to do anything, it has to be this year. And Mike McDaniel is going to bring in an offense that's going to be built around Herbert's strengths, and it is going to be good. It is going to be. It doesn't have a choice. It has to be good.
Completely unrelated side note here. Niners and Chargers are having joint practices together. I mean, you talk about the personalities that are on those fields, like Kyle Shanahan, Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel, Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert. And it's like every time I hear, and like I saw some press from Harbaugh, and he's like, hopefully Kyle let me meet Brock Purdy, man. I just love this guy's decision making. He's awesome, man. And I'm like, dude, if I could listen to Fernando Mendoza, Jim Harbaugh, and Mike McDaniel, like all on a podcast, I'd have to be hella high to listen to it, but it would be incredible to freaking listen to. And I do agree with you. Like, we talked about the Texas Longhorns, dropped on our social channels this morning. It's put up or shut up time for the Longhorns and Sarkisian. It's the same thing for Justin Herbert. Now, how does that translate? And obviously today, not great news, or yesterday, I can't remember, they're blending together, but the Tyler Biadasz situation. Went out and got a guy to anchor the center of that offensive line, and now we're dealing with another offensive line injury for the freaking Chargers, and it is what it is there. We're going to get more into the Chargers. I have quite the feeling that they might just come up another time here while we're talking about the West. Schedules do matter, though. Did you find a pocket on the schedule for one of the teams in the AFC West that you thought was either road grader time or, hey, we need to get fat and eat during this stretch?
Surprise, it's Surfer Boy and the Chargers again. Weeks 3 through 6 at Buffalo, at Seattle, Denver, and Kansas City. Teams that are expected to be playoff teams. And it's early on in the schedule. So the Chargers cannot afford, there's 3 on the road, 1 at home. They cannot afford to get behind the 8 ball here after week 6. They have to be 3-3 at least after week 6, 4-2 preferably. Or this could be, I don't know, man. It could be sad times at SoFi for the powder blue and gold.
Yeah, there was a couple of pockets on these AFC West schedules that are really, really interesting. I decided when I was looking through it, and there was a couple of pockets on Kansas City's schedule that were very intriguing to me, but I decided the second one was going to be a little more telling to me. Thursday, November 26th, night game on NBC. I believe that's Thanksgiving. Yep. They're at Buffalo. Yep. Then the following Thursday, they're at the Rams. Then on Sunday, the 13th, so you got a 10-day gap there. They're at Cincinnati, another team that a lot of people are high on, including myself, which is terrifying because a lot of people are high on them, including myself. That's always, like Dustin told me last week, that's the worst thing as a bettor. When you're really high on somebody and everybody else is, it makes you paranoid. And then the fourth game of that stretch is a Monday Night Football game where they return to what is now only known as Arrowhead, thank God. But it's against New England. And while the games are spread out there, you're going from Thanksgiving night, the 26th, to almost a month later, right before Christmas, December 21st. Those are 4 interesting games. And if I could extend it just a tad, they follow that 6 days later, after Christmas, hosting San Francisco. And then they have a flex game where they're at the Chargers. So, like, there's a couple interesting spots. Like, they go back-to-back on the road with Seattle and Denver earlier in the year. Like, Mahomes might be back. They might have Kenny Walker. Eric Bieniemy's back, calling shots, all of that. But, man, the schedule makers, and again, it's not a conspiracy against your team. It's done in your blocks. This is just the way it ended up, people. It's kind of an interesting schedule for the Chiefs to try and go, hey, we're still the Chiefs.
I mean, and all the pressure is going to be on Kansas City because of their success in the past. Like, Denver was a nice story last year, but it's going to be like, tell it to Reader's Digest. Denver makes the playoffs, and everybody's – that's kind of what it's going to be. But all the pressure is going to be on Kansas City. Second amount of pressure is going to be on the Chargers. These are the teams that are expected to get it done. And last 7 weeks? Holy smokes. That is and you're right, man. Look, you just got to play the games that are in front of you. It's a third place schedule this year, but sorry, man. It is what it is.
What are we gonna have left standing for the Chiefs and the 49ers that late in the season? Like how many guys, key playmakers, are actually gonna be able to be in uniform for that game? And Kansas City, as we know, owns San Francisco, and it's at Arrowhead, which is also interesting there. Let's look at some breakout players. Kind of identify an offensive and defensive breakout player in this division. I actually am looking at a couple of rookies. You not so much. So let's go to the defensive side of the ball. And the fact that this guy was a second round pick to me, I'm not going to overreact to it, because when you look at his numbers, second round was probably appropriately placed. What's terrifying is Steve Spagnuolo is his defensive coordinator, and that's R. Mason Thomas of the Chiefs, formerly of the Oklahoma Sooners. This dude is a house. And in that defensive system, with the veterans, with Karlaftis and Jones and the defensive veterans that Kansas City has, I think this kid could have a incredibly good first year in that system. I mean, you give Steve Spagnuolo and that's the thing. Chiefs were bad last year. High draft picks. They got to load up in the draft. Terrifying for everybody else. I think R. Mason Thomas could have a monster year for Kansas City.
No, that's a great pick. And once again, we're expecting big things out of Kansas City this year just because of the success that they've had in the past. So, yeah, I mean, it stinks to be a Raider fan and look at 6 weeks in the schedule and the teams that you have to go against automatically, those six. Like it's the same thing if you're in the NFC West. Like you look at your schedule and you're like the Cardinals and you're like, holy crap, I got 2 against the Niners, 2 against the Rams. Like, okay, I'm 0-6 now. What am I going to do next? R. Mason Thomas is going to be fantastic for the Chiefs. On the defensive,
go ahead.
I was going to say, on the defensive side, I picked Nakobe Dean of the Raiders. And this team had decent linebackers, and then for some reason, they decided to go cheap and not pay anybody. And we saw the results of that. It was 3-14 and absolute misery. They go out and get Nakobe Dean, who, coming off of a year, 55 tackles last year before, 128 tackles combined. This is a guy that could become the guy in the front seven for the Raiders. And if Nakobe Dean has anything close to the 2024 season that he had, that linebacking core is going to be better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point too, because I think that's one of the biggest things when we look back at what's happened to the Raiders over the last couple of years is going cheap as hell at linebacker. And it was a glaring, like, what the hell is going on here with these guys? Robert Spillane, anybody? It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like, wow, Kubiak's a first-time head coach and blah, blah. He's got a veteran staff. He's got some dogs on defense on that defense. He has got a Raider on paper. He has the traditional Raider-style defense. And I think that would make me more excited than anything if I were a Raiders fan.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't put too much stock in the preseason. I mean, the defense got worked in against the scrubs the entire second half. That's fine, whatever. As long as they hold their own, they should be okay. And this group's going to get better. That's the thing. They're going to get better.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball here. And I don't like this because I was high on this guy, and now everybody's high on this guy. Unless you're playing fantasy football, then I would tell you stay away from this entire team's running back room. But it's Jonah Coleman.
Yeah.
And like when Sean Payton goes, he gets yanked from the game. I mentioned this yesterday. I was talking about the Jeremiah Love situation. Sean Payton was asked why he pulled Jonah Coleman so early in the game last weekend, and he goes, I don't need to see anything else more than what I've already seen for the last 3 weeks out of this dude. You're talking about a 4th round pick here. And this Broncos situation, very, very fascinating. And I'm going to be honest with you, T, like 100% here. It wouldn't shock me one bit if the Broncos make a decision when it comes time to to see if they can find a trade partner for J.K. Dobbins, because between R.J. Harvey and Jonah Coleman, who I think could have a massive breakout year, especially in a Peyton offense with all the different things that they do. I know he's not calling the plays. Yeah, we know who's still calling the plays in Denver. Don't kid yourself. I think Jonah Coleman, man, could be ridiculously good, especially in that system. The fact that they were able to grab him in the 4th round, and it's already been nothing but rave reviews on Jonah Coleman in Denver. Another weapon, another great add to help in the development and the progression of Bo Nix. I think Jonah Coleman could be a superstar.
But J.K. Dobbins is going to be one of the top running backs. He said it. He said he's going to be the look. You're right, dude.
But he didn't say where. He didn't say where.
J.K. Dobbins is a great depth guy. He is. Sorry, you are what you are. But that the Jonah Coleman and R.J. Harvey together, that's going to be. Yeah, I'm not going to want to watch that, but I'm going to want to watch that.
Yeah, you are. Give me your offensive breakout player in the West.
Jalen Naylor. I know I'm going hometown homer pick here, but Jalen Naylor, like this team, they went cheap, right? They went cheap on receivers also. Jacoby Myers was a great pro. They got him out of town, go try and win a playoff game, something. And now they're going to go with Besh and Naylor. And I can't be more excited about what I'm seeing out of Jalen Naylor in training camp. He's got a chance to be the guy. And as a receiver, that's really what you want, is you want to be the guy. So I'm looking for him. Kirk Cousins, you're catching passes from Kirk Chains. That is a fantastic opportunity for you.
You like that?
Look, the Raiders are not going to be great. They're not. But if there's a steady improvement in the skill positions, which I think they've upgraded in the skill positions, this is going to be a fine team to watch. And by fine, I mean 6-11 is fine. But Jalen Naylor has a chance to be a breakout guy here.
You know what? You didn't even know you were doing this. But man, that was an assist of all assists. 6-11 is fine. And it'd be fine for me because my first liquid lock from the division, I like this Raiders team to win at least 6 games this year. They might only win 6 games this year. But I think in what I've kind of said about the Cardinals, I think despite having a 6-11, or unfortunately for me, if it works out this way, a 5-12 type record, I think the Raiders are going to be a pain in the ass to play against this year. And that's usually that first step. I can go back to, everybody's like, oh, the Niners got Jimmy Garoppolo. Who cares? Well, Jimmy Garoppolo, as much crap as he's brought on himself, Jimmy Garoppolo was like the key piece in flipping where the 49ers have gotten to. And they were a pain in the ass to play against because they had a spirit, they had an energy. And I think you're going to see that out of the Raiders. And I do like them. I don't like the price on this. I'm trying to find a way to swindle it into a better odd. I'm probably going to have to try and put it with something. I might just have the thing to put it with to give me a good number on it. But I like the Raiders for over 5.5 wins. I do think you're going to see a competitive spirit, a fight, a Raider-type team finally. And that's exciting. Give me a liquid lock from the division. Because it looks like we might go head-to-head with each other here.
This Charger offense has to produce this year. Otherwise, like, you're getting paid $55 million. You have to produce, and you have to get this team in the playoffs. I like Surfer Boy getting 4,000 plus passing yards at plus 160. And I would even pile on here, 4,500 yards is a plus 475. This team has to score points, especially in the division they're in. And Mike McDaniel was brought in for this offense to be an overwhelming, just a juggernaut. They have the players to do it. Now they just have to go out there and perform.
Remember when you laughed at me when one of my liquid locks for the AFC North was that Joe Burrow would have a 500-yard passing game this year?
Yep.
I did it again. It is, dude. We have this conversation all the time, though. Some guys are just really damn good coordinators and terrible head coaches.
There.
I think Mike McDaniel is that guy. I think Brian Dable in Tennessee is that guy. Robert Saleh is going to get another chance to show yes or no to that answer. And anybody that's been watching with us when we started with the AFC South, I do think Robert Saleh is the right guy for Tennessee. I think the Jets thing was a disaster. Mike McDaniel, offensive coordinator, man. It's back in California. He's with a head coach that just loves ball and khaki pants and RVs down by the beach. It's everything about this terrifies the hell out of me. You know what's scaring me the most, dude? Going into an NFL season, I really like the Bengals this year. I'm pretty warm on the Cowboys. And I am very warm on the Bolts at a plus 190 to win the division. And I think Mike McDaniel is the reason that they will do that. The news today with Biotish, not great. But here's the thing, is this Charger team knows how to handle injuries on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. It could have completely derailed them last year. It didn't. It didn't help. Now you've got a coordinator in here that's like, dude sounds like he's never seen a quarterback that's competent in his life. And granted, where he came from last, he probably hasn't seen a competent quarterback in his life. But remember, he was also a big part of like making Jimmy Garoppolo look good, who we were just talking about here. Like, he's a football coach, just not a head football coach. Dude, I'm loving this Charger team, and it scares the hell out of me. Give me the Chargers to win the division.
I'm taking the Broncos to win the division at plus 200. There's too much talent here for Denver. That defense is absolutely incredible. That defense is going to win games on their own. So I'm going to take the Broncos, but I'm not super high on the Chargers, and I don't like watching them because they ruined my football viewing experience here locally. But I'm not down on them either.
Yeah, it's dude. I think it's gonna be fascinating. So clearly, needless to say, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say we might have almost picked this division entirely the same. I've got Chargers, Broncos. You're on your own, kid. Kansas City and Las Vegas. See how many people pick up on that one. Travis Kelce looks at Patrick Mahomes at the end of the year. I love you, brother, but you're on your own, kid. I think that's how it goes, and I do think the Bolts win the division. Scares the hell out of me. But I think this entire NFL season is going to scare the hell out of me. I would assume you've got it slightly flipped from me.
Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders.
How many playoff teams? Oh, he's putting the Bolts in the playoffs.
But then I have to go back to my AFC North and take one playoff team out of there because I think it's just going to be, the more I start to think about it, I think it's going to be probably one out of there. But I have another couple weeks to think about it. This Charger offense is going to be too good. We talk about the Cowboy offense and how they're going to put up points. This Charger offense is going to put up points. Johnson's going to have a hellacious season. And you got Hampton back. Hopefully he stays healthy. This is it. And I love the tight end here. He is absolutely incredible. Gadsden is.
Oh yeah.
So, but just not good enough.
You know what? Do you want out of your Caleb Williams excursion?
Nope. I
was gonna say, me and you could be in the building for Thursday night football when Brock Purdy and the 49ers head to Los Angeles to take on Justin Herbert and the division-leading Chargers in December.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it ain't happening, dude. I mean, rather a Charger game than a Rams game, no doubt about it. I mean, it's probably easier to get tickets to a Rams game. No, not this year because they assembled the Avengers, so every celebrity in the world will want to be there. Oh, I've been a Rams fan my whole life, bro.
Yeah,
Don't even know that they were in St. Louis. Interesting. And you're right, you do have a couple weeks. When we go live on September 2nd, you got to lock, we're locking it down. We're putting it on the spreadsheet. If you didn't get a chance to catch the part of the show yesterday, I was talking about new mandate on the show. as a condition of being on the show, if you pick a guy for MVP, you're not allowed to pick him unless you've already bet him, since me and you are getting screwed on 2 years of those. That's not happening anymore here. We could fix the internet problem that we have with the connection here if we would have just bet on one of those damn MVPs the last couple of years. Oh, we've got golf this weekend.
All right.
The BMW from Bellerive in San Luis. Interesting tournament here. Scotty Scheffler last week decided he was done finishing second.
Good for him. Good for me.
Good for you, too. So I'm going to give mine out because TJ... For those of you new to the show, again, welcome. TJ is not a golfer. Might golf once a year. Will only golf if he has pink golf balls. The dude sold his golf clubs for a used bike. That's TJ. TJ's also a numbers guy and a math guy. And he's pretty good at this, despite how he lays them out. So I'll go first. I'm going to go Tom Kim in my top 40. I'm going to go with the X-Man, Xander Schauffele, for a top 10. And just so he can screw me, because that's how it works with him, I'm going to take Scotty Scheffler to win in back-to-back weeks here. So, Kim, Schauffele, Jesus, that came out interesting, and Scotty Scheffler. Those are my three. How are you going as we visit St. Louis on the PGA Tour?
Well, since the BMW Championship is in the Gateway City, beautiful St. Louis, humid as hell in the summer. Baseball team is mid. Ribs are really good. I'm going with players who share the last names of current or former St. Louis Blues players. So my top 40 is Ricky Fowler, Cam Fowler, defenseman for the St. Louis Blues. My top 10 is Justin Thomas, Robert Thomas, the star center for the St. Louis Blues. And my top 5 or win is Cameron Young, sharing a last name with Blues legend Scott Young, who in 1999 at America West Arena got the secondary assist on the Pierre Turgeon game-winning goal in Game 7 to beat the Coyotes 1-0. I hate that guy. But dang it, Cameron Young's going to come through for me this week.
I like it. Tomorrow, we've got day baseball. We've also got a show tomorrow. TJ will be on in the second part of the program. We'll do some headline fire then. I'll lead off the program for you. But day baseball, it's Thursday. It's time to pick some home run hitters early. And remember, we're doing this, so give us a little credit. Give us some freaking credit here. We're doing this without weather conditions, without lineups. It is a crapshoot, but we're going on hunches. So we've got some day baseball tomorrow, and I think, if I remember correctly, both of us, our picks to hit a home run tomorrow, come from day baseball games.
Yes.
So we could, maybe this has been the secret here, T. Maybe doing it live, we'll do it live, is going to be how we finally get this thing done. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's been a long year. We're not down a ton. Obviously, there's only 2 picks here. So I'm going to tweak this a little bit. It's going to be $5 dingers. 5 on each guy, 5 on both of them. Why don't you give me your pick to hit a home run and go yard tomorrow?
I've been on them since the break, the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm going with Junior Caminero against the Jays and Shane Bieber. Baby, go over the wall and win me some money.
There goes the whole damn audience. He hit one today, and I love when I watch the Rays games. Anderson and Dwayne Stats, fantastic. Ryan Bass also. Because I always forget. And Caminero hit one in the first inning. I thought I was like, oh, there we go. Max Scherzer, first inning, giving up runs, just like clockwork. Mm-hmm. And Stats had to give me the revisit that I have to have 3 times a year about the A ring, the B ring, and the C ring on the Tropicana roof. Mm-hmm. Because Caminero hit one so high, I think Sanchez was in left for the Jays, and he runs over like he's at the foul pole, and he's standing there for a good second or two. Then the ball comes down like 10 feet, 5 feet to his right, bounces and bounces over the fence. They sent it to a crew chief review, and they even said it, I think Anderson said it on the broadcast. He's like, Dude, they acted and made it look like they were actually trying to figure out if it hit one of those rings up there, but they couldn't find the damn ball. And they showed the replay, you couldn't find it anywhere. Thankfully for me, I bet the Yurfie first inning and Yandy Diaz to homer a couple batters later. Yandy Diaz took care of business. It's always fascinating to hear the A ring, the B ring, and the C ring, and then see these random foul poles that are like this big hanging off of a catwalk. Fascinating stuff.
New ballpark.
So you got that one tomorrow. I'm going to go day baseball tomorrow. And I'm going to look at god-awful George Kirby and the Mariners, who, again, I'm targeting this team all freaking week. Tonight, they're having their night. Tomorrow, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to go with Junior Caminero. Or not Junior Caminero. Jackson Churio. I was looking at yours. Almost the same damn name. Jackson Churio tomorrow to hit a home run off of George Kirby. So we got Caminero, the JC combo. I think we're on to something here, dude. And we'll be on potentially if it happens. That excites me.
If he does, you have to slide down the slide like Bernie Brewer.
I could probably pull that off in here. There'd be some holes in the wall. But...
If Caminero hits a home run, then I get to stand in bleacher section left and cheer all by myself.
Games of note, 4-0 Dodgers over the Rockies. That's not really a game of note, but I'm running out of options here. Everything else has gone final that matters. Tampa Bay was able to hold on. The Yanks did top the Orioles 5-3 there. The Cardinals, they lose to the Reds, so plenty of stuff there. Tomorrow on the program, 11:30 lunchtime live. TJ and myself, T will be with me in the second half of the program. Do you have any final words to leave the fine folks with on this lovely hump day?
Well, I'm only working 4 days this week in respect to Jaden Daniels.
Appreciate that, dog.
No problem.
Cease and desist. Have you checked the mail today?
Negative.
But what are you wearing? Oh, you got 21 on there. That was weird.
So this is,
what a weird way
to. This is not a Cliff Branch jersey. This is my Mojo D jersey from when he played in 2014. But I met Cliff Branch wearing this jersey.
Nice.
At the Orleans. I'm checking into my room and I hear, I used to wear that number, and I turn around and it's Cliff Branch. And I was so rattled that I couldn't even get my cell phone out and get a picture with him. But Cliff Branch was very fond of my Mojo D jersey.
I was not on that trip at the Orleans with you, but I ran into Ron Jeremy once in the elevator at the same Orleans that you're talking about. You know, it's funny that the story you just told was I used to wear that number. Mm-hmm. It's Jaden Daniels-esque. Throwing that out there. Same bat time tomorrow, 11:30, which is our normal bat time, right here on these channels. Follow us on all of our social channels. We appreciate the hell out of you. We appreciate you guys toughing it out with us on this internet issue. And hey, you know what? The JC Dinger parlay tomorrow might actually help us fix that. Until then, for everybody behind the scenes, for T, Mike, you know the drill. Until then, we'll talk with you tomorrow.